Thanks for joining me today on our broadcast and very important program in the life of a family. Taking a boy from boyhood to manhood. That's a process that takes place over the course of the years of the life of a young man. And Dad, you're the key figure in bringing that boy to manhood. Now, the brain, as we know, we talked about last week, develops from birth until about age 25. That's when the brain really develops. But it's in those early years of brain development that we play a very critical role in the life of the child to make sure that that brain is protected, that make sure that brain is educated, make sure that brain is enhanced and stimulated and given a lot of opportunity to learn new skills and learn new behaviors and learn new patterns of life. You are, as a dad, not just training a boy, but you're training that boy's brain to be strong and to be competent and to be processing information very quickly and well as he moves up into young adulthood and then, of course, into manhood. So think of it in the sense of, Dad, that's your job. Your job is really to think in terms of brain development as well as a child development and personality development and social development, intellectual development and academic development of a kid. This is all part of the process that you have a job to do as a father of that particular kid. Now, remember, we talked about fathers last time and time before. What is a father and what is the role of the father? So let me just kind of tick off some of the things that we have talked about over the last 5 programs. This is the 6th program today on this particular series. But remember, the father is a wall of trust. I want you to think of the sense that this is your job as a father, is to teach the boy how to trust somebody. That you say something and then you do it. You promise something and you fulfill it. That's being the wall of trust. And that is your job as a father, is to make sure you teach that sense of trust in your child. So he can trust you, but then he can learn to trust others. And he lives a life then of trusting people and not being suspicious and doubtful and paranoid. So that's your job as a father, be a wall of trust. Secondly, make sure you're the badge of security for that child. That child needs to know that you are protecting him, that he is secure in your presence, that when you are there, he doesn't have to worry, he doesn't have to be afraid, he doesn't have to be anxious, he doesn't have to be nervous. You are the wall of protection for the child, but you're the wall of protection for the home, you're the wall of protection for the family. You are that wall of protection that makes sure that every child is raised within that context of feeling secure and feeling protected. Then also, Dad, last time we talked about you as being the safeguards of safety, the lifeguards, the set of guide rails, if you can think of that, guide rails of safety. You want to make sure that you set the parameters for the child of what to do and what not to do. And within that limits, the child can live and can have a freedom of life. But Dad, you're the guardrail. You set the guardrails. You set those patterns of what you don't go beyond. You don't get into behavior patterns which are to his detriment as a child and as an adult. You want to teach appropriate and good behavior, but you want to make sure that that child doesn't get into behavior patterns which are to his contrariness and is not in his best interest. So, Dad, you're the guardrail. Make sure that you're guardrail for the safety of the child and for the good living life of your child. And then, Dad, you're also the honor guard for mother. You are there to protect the mother. You don't let children abuse the mother. You don't let children talk back to the mother. You don't let children disregard the word of the mother any more than you would let the child disregard your words. So you are there as a honor guard for the mother. You hold mother up highly. Somebody has said that the very best thing you can do for a child, the very best influence you can have on a child is to love their mother. But it's going beyond just loving, but you want to be the honor guard. You want to make sure that the mother is honored and is held up in esteem, but is not hurt in any kind of way by a child's voice or words or sarcasm or criticism or any of that kind of stuff. You are to step in, Dad, and protect the mother from those kind of behavior patterns from kids if they ever engage in them. And then you're the listening ear, Dad. You're the listening ear. We've talked about that. You need to be the person who sits and listens to your child. Your child needs somebody to talk to. You're the person The child wants to talk to you. The child wants you to know certain things about him, what he's gone through today and what he's experiencing, what he's worried about, and what's stressing him. You have to be there to ask the questions and then listen. That's what a child needs, and that's what your job is as a father. Make sure you're the listening ear to your child. Every child needs that. If you're not there to listen, then the child is missing a very important part of his own development. And then, Dad, we talked about this too. You are the fountain of encouragement. You are the person who encourages your child to move forward in life. You can do it. You're capable. You're competent. Go ahead and try it. I know you can do it. I know you will. I know you'll succeed. That's encouragement. Those are words of encouragement. Kids need you to be that encouraging word. I call it to be the fountain of encouragement. Let that exude. Let that just flow from you. Be an encouraging person to your kid. Your kid needs that kind of encouragement, but he needs it from you as a dad, because then he knows that you believe in him. Then he knows that you have trust in him. Then he knows that you have faith in him, and he knows that you have hope for him in the future. So be that encouraging word. And then, Dad, you're the barrel of fun. Kids look to you as being the barrel of fun. You are the one to play with them on the floor. You are the one to roll with them on the floor. You're the one to wrestle with them on the floor. You're the one to take them places and have fun together and laugh and enjoy. Life is to be enjoyed, and you are to be the one to take your child in a situation where that life can be enjoyed, where the child can enjoy life. Be that barrel of fun for your kid, as well. Any way you possibly can create a fun time for your kid, do it. And then, Dad, lastly, you're the prime time teacher. You're the prime time teacher. You're the first teacher that a child has. Teach that child all the skills of life. Teach that child the attitudes of life, the values of life, the importance of living a life of honor and trust and obedience, and having the benefit, from that kind of a lifestyle. Now, on that particular point, some time ago, I wrote a book entitled Kids Alive. A very important book, because what this book does, it takes words that children need to learn. And words not necessarily learn how to spell, because these are words that are simple, but learn words that are important to know from a meaning point of view, from a lifestyle point of view, from running the race of life, from living the race of life. There are certain words that your kid needs to know and needs to memorize and needs to know how to use these words in his daily life. Let me give you a couple examples of that, okay? Here's one. Thank you. You need to teach your child the word of thank you. Now, the child knows how to spell it. The child knows what it is. You know how to say it. But it's when do you say thank you? Child gets a birthday gift. Make sure that kid sends a thank you note to whoever he sent him a birthday gift, grandma or grandpa or aunts and uncles or whoever it might be. When you do something special for a kid, he should be saying thank you. When mom does something for a kid, he should be saying thank you. The very meals that you prepare as parents for a kid deserves a thank you. Your kid needs to learn the word thank you and say it and use it on a regular daily basis. That's the important word of a child's vocabulary that, Dad, you're to give the example. You're to model that word being used. You use it yourself. Use it frequently, and then your child will. But encourage your child to use the word thank you. Here's another one. Pardon me. Pardon me is a word that your kid needs to know. You bump into somebody, you say, I'm sorry, or pardon me. You do something that offends somebody, you say, pardon me, I didn't mean to do that. You do the same thing. You use the word pardon me as a father, and your child will. But make sure your child knows the word pardon me and uses it. You should be hearing from your child that word pardon me on numerous occasions. Maybe it's not said every single day, but whenever there needs to be some kind of a feeling of expression of being sorry for something, pardon me is a word that is good to use. Here's a third one. Excuse me. You want somebody's attention, you say, excuse me, sir, or excuse me, ma'am. And the word excuse is then a way to get attention. It's a way to get somebody's attention for something that maybe you would want. Like in a restaurant, the waitress, you say, excuse me. And then the waitress will tend to you and you get what you want. But the word excuse me is a word that kids need to learn how to use. Or if they interrupt somebody, yeah, the word is excuse me, I'm sorry, pardon me. Okay? Which is the next word, I'm sorry. Kids need to learn the word I'm sorry. They need to know how to apologize. They need to learn how to ask for forgiveness. They need to learn how to say they're sorry for what they just did. They interrupted, or that they did something that offended somebody, or they did something that wasn't proper, or spoke out of turn, or said something that was offensive. The word is pardon me. I'm sorry. Excuse me. I'm sorry. These are the words that we use, and kids need to learn these words as they become a man. And you as a father need to teach them these particular words. What about the word, may I help you? That's another word that kids need to learn how to use. Sure, they see somebody that needs help. Maybe somebody's trying to lift something and can't, even like on an airplane, looking up, putting the luggage up above. Something that's pretty hard for a person to do. A woman, a man, or whatever. It's sometimes hard to do. You can say, may I help you? May I help you? Get your kid to offer their services, offer their help to somebody else. And that's how they do it. That's how they introduce that, is may I help you? So that's kind of where you want to teach your kid that particular word. Here's another one. Please forgive me. Please forgive me. That word is a very important one. We all do things that offend other people. We all do things that might not set very well with somebody else. We all do things that are out of line and we shouldn't have done, shouldn't have said. Well, please forgive me. That's a word that your kid needs to learn how to say and when to say it, and to say it frequently. You as a father need to be able to say those words yourself. And that's how you teach your kid, by you saying those words yourself. And then here's the last one that just as an example. The very important word, the biggest word in the vocabulary that we all have. The word is no. Every kid needs to learn what no means. No means no. That means not now. That means not tomorrow. That means not later. That means no. It's a final decision. It's a final result. It's a final outcome. Your kid needs to learn how to not only say no to somebody, but learn how to accept the word no from somebody as well, and to believe and to live with that. And every kid has trouble living with the word no, but we as parents say no a lot of the times. And the kid needs to be able to understand that word, not just to use it, but to obey it and to respond to it themselves as an individual. So there are a lot of these kind of basic words that you as a parent teach your kid and need to teach your kid. And that's what this whole process of moving a child from boyhood to manhood. It doesn't just happen by chance. It doesn't happen by your absence. It doesn't happen by your silence. It doesn't happen by your neglect. Moving a boy from boyhood to manhood comes as a result of your active involvement in the life of a child as a teaching parent, and the child as a learning child. And that interaction is really what is the formula for moving that boy from boyhood to manhood. Now, one thing that's also important to remember as a father, and let me just kind of bring this together a little bit. You as a father, you as a parent, have a very strong responsibility to teach all kinds of skills to your kid. Teach them how to live life. We call them life skills. And you need, as a father, to identify those life skills and learn them and teach them and exhibit them and model them, be an example of them, and be a teaching father, that these kind of life skills are learned by your kid so that he can move from being a son, being a boy, to being a man. And you got to be a part of his life. You got to be connected with him. You have to be that teaching parent in his life. Just like the backdrop that we've had a little while ago here about that father and that son have a connection, a bond together. That father can be a teaching father to that kid because there's a bond there. They're listening to each other. They're talking to each other. They're doing things together. They're connected. They're a one team, so to speak. And that father can be a teaching father, teaching parent to that child just because of that connection, as you've seen in that particular backdrop. But what are some of the life skills? What are the life skills that you as a father need to teach your child, and that would be important to teach your child, so that your child moves into manhood with skills that he can then use in life and be successful and be accomplished and be productive, being a successful, accomplished young man. What are they? Well, there's a whole host of them. And let me just put on the screen here a list of them, and you just take a look at the list of them. You can read them for yourself. And I'll just kind of highlight a few of them as we walk through this thing a little bit. But you as a parent, you as a father, help your child learn how to budget his time and how to budget his money. Learn how to write a thank you note. Teach him how to talk to older people. Teach him how to use the basic tools of pliers and screwdrivers and wrenches and so on. Does he know how to do those? Does he know how to use those particular tools? Those are the basic tools. Does he know how to use them? And can he use them well? And can he take care of them and put them back where they belong? Teach your child to shake hands. Many children do not know how to shake hands with an adult. When to shake hands and how to shake hands. As a father, teach your kid how to shake hands. How to balance a checkbook. How to make a bed. How to do the weekly laundry. How to fix something that's broken rather than just throw it away and go buy something. How to check the air and the pressure in your tires in the car. How to change an oil. How to do some of the basic repairs of a car and upkeep of a car. Does your child know how to ask for help? That's your job, teaching the child how to ask for help. Stop along the way and ask for help when you need it. Have you taught your child how to buy things in a wise kind of way? I remember the lesson of saying, you don't buy the most expensive and you don't buy the least expensive. You buy somewhere in the middle as your best choice of how you buy things. Look for the things in the middle cost or the middle quality, and you're probably better off buying something in that range as compared to something that's most expensive or least expensive. I mean, that's the kind of the wise way of learning how to buy things and learning how to save. Learn how to put money in a bank and learn how to put money in a checking account. Learn how to put it in a savings account and build some savings for the future. That's your job as a father, teaching your kid that. How to ride a bus. How to care for a pet. How to make a decision. You don't make decisions just by saying, okay, I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that. No, you weigh the pro and the con. And you look at the things in favor, the things against. And then you make a wise decision of balancing the things which are helpful and good and positive and the things which are destructive and not helpful in making that particular decision. How to set the dining room table, the kitchen table. How to have conversation around the table. How to enjoy conversation with the family and sit and talk and learn from each other. See, Dad, there's life skills that are important for you to first of all exhibit. First of all, to live out in front of your kids. Let them see these skills in you. You have them all yourself. You should. And then you teach them to your kids so they come along in life. And that's how your child becomes a man as compared to being a boy. You don't want him to stay in boyhood. You want him to move to manhood. Interesting little experience. I asked several kids recently. These are kids now in beginning of college age, okay? College age, 18, 19 years of age. I gave them this list of things and said, okay, how many of these things do you know how to do? Here you're 19 years of age. How many of these life skills do you know how to do? And they gave me a score of 5 on a 10-point scale. That is average. They only knew half of these life skills. The other half, they did not know what to do or how to do them. These are 19-year-olds. Parents, you're missing the boat. Now, these are just a few life skills. There are many, many other ones that you can add to this. But think of it as these are the life skills that you as a parent are to teach. That's your job. It isn't just being there. It isn't just kind of living there together. It isn't just kind of taking up space together in the same home. It's the idea of being part of the relationship, particularly the relationship with your young boy, because that's the key factor in bringing him along to manhood. And Dad, that's your job and your responsibility. So I pass that on to you, and make sure that you do your part. We all do our part. You do your part. But it's two things. One is be that kind of a person yourself, live that way yourself, and then secondly, teach it, show, be involved, be the example, but be a teacher of these kind of life skills to your kid. Now, this backdrop that we're just looking at now that's the kid and the father. Look at the bond between them. Look at the connection between them. Look at the happiness between them. Look at the fact that they are connected. Look at the fact that they have some kind of a chemistry that's working between the two of them. That's a great picture. It's a great example of what we as fathers want with our kid. We want that bonded relationship where we are essentially one. We're one as a family, we're one as a parent and child, and we're one as a father and son. Be that and make it a happy experience in the same way that you see in the backdrop. A very happy experience of two men, one younger and one older, one being the father, one being the son, having a happy relationship with each other. So, what I'm going to do now is take a little shift. I want to read a piece of poetry for you, some lyrics from a song that was famous in 1974. Harry Chapman wrote this little piece of poetry called "The Cat's in the Cradle." Now, if you haven't heard this one, you need to hear it. This is a profound piece of poetry regarding a father and a son. The cat's in a cradle. 1974, he wrote this and became well known as a guitarist and a singer when he sang this particular song. It put him on the map, so to speak. And unfortunately, in 1981, he was killed in an automobile accident, leaving behind a wife and 5 children. A very sad way for a young man in his 38 years of age to depart from this world and leave a family of 5 kids and a wife. So when you hear this piece of poetry, you'll get a sense of what really goes on in the life of a man, in the life of a father, and put yourself in it. See what it means, to you as I read the piece of poetry, "The Cat's in the Cradle." We'll pick that up in just a moment. Okay, let me pick this up with you now, the Cat in the Cradle. This is the lyrics. I won't sing it for you. I won't play it on the guitar, but I'll read it for you because I want you to catch the essence of this relationship between this father and his son. And it could be you and your son. It could be me and my son. It could be any of us and our son. So see it in a sense, a very personalized, kind of way. My child arrived just the other day. He came to a world in the usual way. But there were planes to catch and bills to pay. He learned to walk while I was away, and he was talking, for I knew it, as he grew. He'd say, "I'm going to be just like you, Dad. I'm going to be just like you." And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon. Little boy blue and the man in the moon. When you coming home, Dad? I don't know when. But we'll get together then. We'll have a good time then. My son turned 10 just the other day. He said, "Thanks for the ball, Dad. Come on, let's play. Can you teach me to throw?" I said, "Not today. I've got things to do." He said, "That's okay." And he walked away with a smile that never dimmed and said, "I'm going to be just like him, yay. I'm going to be just like him." And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon. Little boy blue and the man in the moon. When you coming home, Dad? I don't know when, but we'll get together then. We'll have a good time then. Well, he came home from college the other day, just like a man. I had to say, "I'm proud of you. You can sit for a while." He shook his head and say, "No, I can't," with a smile. What I'd really like, Dad, is to borrow your keys and take the car. Can you later? I'll see you later. And can I go, please? And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon. Little boy blue and the man in the moon. When you coming home, son? I don't know when. We'll get together then, Dad. We'll have a good time then. I've long since retired. My son moved away. I called him just the other day. I said, I'd like to see you, if you don't mind. He said, I'd love to, Dad, if I could find the time. You see, my new job's a hassle and the kids got the flu. But it's sure nice talking to you, Dad. It's been sure nice talking to you. And as I hung up the phone, it occurred to me, he's grown up just like me. My boy was just like me. And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon, little boy blue, and the man in the moon. When you coming home, son? I don't know when, but we'll get together then, Dad. We're going to have a good time then. That's a very sad piece of poetry. A very sad story. A boy that wanted to be like his dad. But you know, he wanted a dad to be different. He wanted a dad that was involved. He wanted a dad that was committed to him, took time for him, interacted with him, taught him, played with him. He wanted a dad like that. But what he got was a dad that said, not now, I'm too busy. We'll do it later. And as I said a little while ago, later never came. This particular author, Harry Chapin, wrote this in 1974. He died in 1981. He never came home after 1981. And he had 5 children, and he never came home to them. All he left with was a piece of poetry. We'll get together then. And they never got together. These are kids that grew up without the dad coming home, in the same way that the poetry depicted and shared here. We'll get together then, Dad. We'll get together then. So you see, life is short. Life is meaningful. But it's only meaningful when we make it meaningful. It's meaningful only when we have a father in our life that commits to us and is involved with us and is bonded with us and is part of our life and part of our life experiences and is a teacher and a protector of us and one that will enjoy life with us and create the fun, the barrel of fun that I spoke about. That's the father that kids need. That's the father they want. And that's the father they want to become as they become a father. Not one who will just pass off their kids in the same way that they were passed off on and say, we'll get together then. So whenever you have a chance to read this piece of poetry, read it. It's worth reading every year. It's worth reading periodically. It's worth reading just to take it in and understand that life is short, and you are the one who can make that life meaningful no matter how short it is. You can make that life a positive experience for your kid no matter how short it is. Take your job, do your job, be responsible, and make sure you're involved in your kid's life. Be the cat in the cradle. Be there with your kid from birth to death. Be there in your life with your kid. Make sure that you are involved and the kid has you as a playmate, you as a teacher, you as a friend, you as a model, you as an example. That's your job as a father. Now, one of the things as a father, let me just bring this to a close here for today, but one of the things about a father is you can be a dream maker. You know, Dad, kids go to bed every night. Every night you can put them to bed. Every night you can ignore them. Every night you can send them to bed. Every night you can tell them to go to bed. But you have the choice, Dad. You can put them to bed. You can take them to bed. You can help them to bed. You can be there when they go to bed. You can be there when they go to sleep. But you know, Dad, here's the big deal. You can create their dreams. You can give them the impetus to dream that night and what to dream about, and suggest to them a dream that would help them live life and have a pleasant sleep, but a pleasant dreaming experience as well. So here's your job, Dad. Here's some suggestions for you, okay? When you put your child to bed tonight and every night, here's some of the things you can do. Just a random list. You can do any of these. You can do them all. But do one a night. Do one a night. Give your child love messages. Tell him you love him. Tell him he's a lovable kid. Have him dream about how much you love him and have him come up with ways in which you love him and the ways that you show your love to him. That's one. Here's another one. Give your kids some things to think about during the dream, some thoughts. Suggest some thoughts about goodness or thoughts about helping somebody or thoughts about being a valued person yourself. Give them thoughts of that nature. Just say, think on these things. Think on joy. Think on happiness. Think on pleasure. Think on helping somebody. Think on goodness. Think in those kind of words. Give them these kind of thoughts to think about as they go to sleep and as they dream. Give them a story to think about. You make up a story and tell them a little story and then have them go to sleep and finish the story. Complete the story. But involve them in some kind of a positive little story, a fun little story that you make up. And then have them finish the story as they go on into sleep and into their dream world. Suggest some memories that they might think about at night when they sleep. What memories have you thought about that you want your kids to remember? What are some of the things that they have lived in the last number of years that you want them to remember? Places you've been, experiences they've had, people they've met, times that have been fun, times that have been enjoyable, times that have been uplifting, positive learning experiences. Give them these kind of memories to think about as they go to sleep. Suggest those kind of things. Here's another one. Suggest celebrations. Every kid has something to celebrate. Every achievement, every success, every accomplishment, every good grade is cause for a celebration. Tell your child a story of some kind and then say, now celebrate that. Remember when you did this or you did that. Now celebrate it as you sleep and as you dream. Here's another one. Give your kid a code to think about. A lot of kids think in codes, particularly autistic children. They're thinking codes. So give them a task that maybe they could come up with some kind of a code that equals the word dad, or equals the word father, or equals the word love, or equals the word family. What's the code word that they would come up with that when they say that code word, that's exactly what it means, is family or dad or love or caring. Have them communicate those kind of words through a code. A lot of kids love and enjoy working on codes. Promises. Give your kid a promise. You're going to promise to be there for something. You're going to promise to do something with them. You're going to promise to do something tomorrow. You're going to promise to do something this weekend. But don't make a promise that you don't fulfill. Don't make a promise that you can't fulfill. But your kids love promises. They can look forward to something. But it's only the promise that you keep. You have to be a promise keeper. You must be a promise keeper in the life of a child. There's no option. Help them develop their faith. Help them develop their faith in God. Help them develop their faith in religion. Help them develop their faith in faith. Help them to be a person of godly faith. Do some reading from the Bible. Do a little story from the Bible. Do a little memory of something that maybe you remember from your childhood from the Bible. Just tell them that little story, but develop their faith a little bit. Reassurance. Give them reassurances that you're going to be there in the morning. Reassure them of your love. Reassure them of your faithfulness. Reassure them of your love for their mother. Reassure them of your love for their sister, for their brother. Reassure them of your love and your caring for them as a person. And you'll always be there. You'll always love them. You'll always be there. Give them that reassurance. Confidence. Build confidence. This is a time to build confidence. When your kids go to sleep at night, give them suggestions of confidence, that they are good people, or he's a good boy, he's a good person. Give him the confidence that he's capable, he's competent, he's able to do something, he's accomplished. He did something good today, he did something good yesterday, he's going to do something good tomorrow. He did a good test, he did a good paper, he did a good piece of homework. He treated his sister well, he treated his mother nicely, he helped with the dishes, he helps at the table, whatever. Build that confidence that he did it and he can do it again, he can do it in the future. That's confidence. Also, how about power of suggestion? Give suggestion that here is a kid that is going to get better. He's going to get wiser. He's going to get smarter. He's going to get better grades. Suggest that as he works and he thinks it through and as he sleeps, he can wake up tomorrow and be a better student. He can work up tomorrow and be a wiser student. He can work up tomorrow and know a little bit more than he knew yesterday. He can study a little bit more seriously. take things more seriously. The power of suggestion is very, very important. Give that to him as he goes to sleep. And here's my last point. Songs in the night. Songs in the night, Dad. You sing a song in the night. You suggest a song in the night, like we just read to you a little while ago. The Cat's in the Cradle. That's a song. You can sing a verse of it, a line of it. Find a song that you like. Give him a little song that he can use as he goes to bed at night and he goes to sleep. Songs in the night. That's soothing. That's relaxing. That's calming. That's sleep kind of. All kids go to sleep better as they have music as they go into sleep. And you be the person that brings songs in the night to your kid in a lot of different ways, through the goodness of your life, through the power of bonding, through the power of companionship, through the power of father and son being bonded together. Those are songs in the night. Be that kind of a person to your kid. So be a dream maker, Dad. Be a dream maker. Help your kid dream well when they go to sleep at night. Every kid dreams every night. Every adult dreams every night. We always dream. Sometimes we remember them. Sometimes we don't. But we dream. So be that person that might suggest some type of dream that would be a positive dream, a constructive kind of an experience for your kid as he goes to bed at night and goes off to sleep. He'll go to sleep easier. He'll go to sleep better. He'll go to sleep sooner. It's your job, Dad. It's something for you to do. Now, lastly, as we end up today, remember I have a question that somebody asked me from a previous program, and I'd just like to answer it. And then we'll end. Here's the question that came to my attention from somebody today. Here it is. If you are a dad and want to get started reconnecting with your son, how do you start? Okay, if you're a dad and you want to get reconnected with your son, how do you start? Well, if you've been out of the home, you've been away from your son, you've been traveling, or you're divorced, or you're separated, or you removed yourself from the life of your son, and now, for whatever reason, you want to get reconnected. Here's some things you need to do. First of all, Dad, clean up your act. Whatever reason it is that you're not at home, whatever reason it is that you're not in the life of your child, get that clarified, get that cleaned up, change that area of your life, change that behavior pattern in your life so that you are worthy of being involved in the life of your son. That's the point. You got to be worthy of it. So alter your behavior. Change your behavior first. That's the very first thing you have to do. Present yourself as an acceptable father to your kid. And then the process can start. You ask the mother. You ask again. You ask again. You ask again. And you keep asking. You keep pleading for opportunity to reconnect with your son. She may not trust you. She may be leery. She may back off. But you need to be that person that keeps asking. You may need to go to court, by the way. You may need to use the powers of the court to show the court that you have changed, that you're a new man, you're a different man, and now you're a man that's able to connect with your kid, and you want to do that, and ask for the judge's guidance in that area. It might be through supervised visits. You may have to visit with your son with a supervisor being present. You may have to meet with a therapist together and talk about the hurts and the stresses of the past and get redemption and get redeeming value and get forgiveness and rebuild that relationship. There are setbacks that you've had. Remember, all kinds of setbacks you've had. But you need to ask for forgiveness, and you need to get your son's forgiveness, and you need to be a person that now is going to be committed to your child's life, and don't give up. Don't stop. Once you get going, if you're going to go back into your son's life for just a brief period of time and then disappear again, don't do it at all. Kids don't need that. If you're going to go back in your son's life, you got to do it permanently, forever. So it's a lifetime commitment that you're making. So don't give up. And remember, there's always light at the end of the tunnel. Okay? Now, today's St. Pat's Day. Let me give you an Irish blessing. Okay? This is an Irish blessing as we close. May your prayers be full of pleas. May you say them on your knees. May God bless you and all you do. Bye for now. See you next week.
The Green Gables Care Home is a 24-hour assisted living facility for the elderly located in Clovis, California, offering spacious private and semi-private rooms which are wheelchair approved, catering to the special person in your life who needs attention and wants to live in a loving home environment. The Green Gables Care Home has assisted living in secured homes for elderly with Alzheimer's, memory loss, and for your loved ones needing assistance with their activities of daily living. Call 559-297-9438 and visit greengablescarehome.com.